And now we'll continue. Hopefully that will have calmed everyone down. We're all peaceful now. And the honourable member for Banff Airdrie is rising on a point of order.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as we, of course, are approaching the end of our session for the summer, I note that there are 4 outstanding points of privilege. There is a point of privilege from the member for Timmins James Bay in relation to the government ignoring a House order regarding taking Indigenous children to court. There is a point of privilege from the member for Carleton regarding the government's inflation tax. And from the member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes, that's a mouthful, that one, regarding the Ethics Committee and the fact that the government has ordered staff there to disobey the order to appear. And then, of course, there was a point of privilege from our opposition House Leader as well related to the documents related to the Winnipeg lab after, of course, the appearance at the bar by the head of the Public Health Agency of Canada on Monday. While I appreciate that some of these obviously do contain, you have some deliberations to have on some of them. That's understandable, Mr. Speaker. In particular, the one from the opposition House Leader. First of all, I will note that there is some new information that has come to light as well, and that is that the government has now filed an order in federal court with you as the defendant, Mr. Speaker, where they're seeking to have those records and those documents sealed so that they can be hidden from Canadians. That obviously adds a very significant element of timeliness to this, because when you have that being done by the government, they've gone to that length to actually go to the federal court against yourself, Mr. Speaker, to try to see those documents sealed so that they cannot be seen by Canadians. That would add a very important element of timeliness to this. And I do believe that it does seem like, in that particular point of privilege in particular, there is a pretty clear set of facts there. You had brought the head of the Public Health Agency of Canada to the bar. You admonished him. The documents were supposed to come with him. They did not. That is very clear. That's a very clear set of facts, very well established. We now have the government going to court to try to seal those documents, and that is shameful, frankly. And I would say that I would think that there is a very clear evidence there that we do have a prima facie case, so would have expected that we would have seen a ruling from you prior to the summer adjournment of Parliament. And so I just want to ask, Mr. Speaker, a 3-part question so that we can get some clarity on where things are at with these points of privilege. Will you, in fact, be delivering a ruling, particularly on that point of privilege, given the timeliness of that matter now, and on the other points of privilege as well that I've raised here? And if not, can you tell the House why not? And if, in addition on that, what would happen with those points of privilege should the government do, as has been very widely speculated, and go ahead and dissolve Parliament for an election? What would then happen to those points of privilege? So I do certainly hope, given that the government has now gone to a federal court against yourself as the defendant, Mr. Speaker, trying to seal the documents, that you will, in fact, deliver a ruling prior to the summer. But if you can answer those questions, please.
I want to thank the honourable member for his question, and it certainly is a fair question. Unfortunately, over the last week, the amount of resources required from the clerks and myself has limited the resources that we have to put to the points of order and the points of privilege. And one of the things I've prided myself in being here is putting out a well-thought-out and a well-thought-out response that merits the location of the position that I'm in. And one of the things that I did not want to do is to rush through that with limited resource and give an answer or give a ruling that was not it was not up to the level that is expected from members, and members have been used to. So I will not be able to, should Parliament dissolve today, I will not be able to do it right away. It will be done at the next sitting of the House, whenever that does happen. And we will have something that is very robust and something that makes sense and something that I think all members can have confidence in. Okay, another point of order, please go ahead.
So just in relation to the last question that I had, what in fact, it's maybe more of a point of clarification than anything, but what in fact would happen with those points of privilege should the government choose to dissolve this Parliament and go to an election? Would those points of privilege carry forward into the next Parliament? What would happen to those, first of all? And second of all, what effect does the fact that the government has in fact applied to the federal court to have those documents sealed have on this, and what bearing does it have on this? Are you, does that change in fact anything about this point of privilege, about your ruling, and are you concerned about the fact that those documents the government has applied to have them sealed, and what effect that would have obviously on this place and its ability to follow through on its orders, because that is a very serious matter when a government is taking the Speaker of the House of Commons to federal court in order to try to seal documents so that they can avoid being held accountable to Canadians. That is something we all must take incredibly seriously in this place, because the very heart of democracy is at stake.
Very good. I want to thank the honourable member for Banff Airdrie. I just wanted to make sure we got everything exactly the way it should be, or the answer is correct. The points of privilege and the points of order will be carried over, and it'll be up to the Speaker at the time to look at it and take all the information as it evolves and actually make a decision at that time. And I would want to take that away from whoever the next Speaker is. And on the second point is we were told by the government House Leader, he announced it in the chamber, and it is in the process, and we'll be taking that under consideration as we proceed. L'honorable député de Louis Saint-Laurent.